Ladies and gentlemen of the internet, welcome. So, Thomas Tuchel has officially been confirmed as the new Bayern head coach, with Julian Nagelsmann being released from his duties, which we reported on yesterday, of course, during a live discussion. But I just wanted to talk about this by myself just a little bit and go through all the comments that the club has made in regards to the sacking of Julian Nagelsmann and the hiring of Thomas Tuchel. Now, let us start with just my thoughts before we go over to the comments. My thoughts, as you all know, is I wanted Julian Nagelsmann out for a while now, and main reason for that really has been the style of play. I've not enjoyed us playing football for a year and a half now, and I don't think we have improved in that time. Now, I've seen the argument that some people make in that is, oh, well, this was supposed to be a long-term project. Well, the issue is a long-term project does need improvement. You can't, if a long-term project after a year and a half, a season and a half, still hasn't improved, then it's not a project, it's just a stagnant failure. So that's my take on this whole situation. I don't like the way it went down, I will say. I don't like the way it went down. I think we were kind of ruthless, leaking it to the press first and then going to him. But at the end of the day, I just care what's best for Bayern. I don't care what's best for, any individual. I care what's best for the club. So from my perspective, from where I stand, I don't care too much. I think it's ruthless, sure. But I think I just, what matters to me is the club. That's it. That's the bottom line. That's all that matters to me. So us getting a manager who the club and a few other people, not everyone. I'd say there's a 40-60 percentage of 40% of people want him out. 60% of people didn't want him out and were huge fans of his. But I also think that a lot of people, and I think it's more like 90% of people, didn't like the way it went down. Now, I can agree with that. I just don't care if I'm if I'm being completely honest. I can agree with it that it was a shitty way it went down. I just don't really care. I just don't really care. It sucks. But at the end of the day, what my focus is on is Bayern. So let's talk a little bit about Julian Nagelsmann and Tuchel. Let's start with Tuchel. Actually, let's start with Julian Nagelsmann. I do want to say thank you for all you've done. I do think the move came too soon for him. I think he probably should have had another 3 years at a different club with not quite the same expectations, but he could have been in charge more. Because the issue with him was that, I felt this from from early on, he didn't have the power. He didn't have the power that, an Ancelotti, even when Ancelotti came to Bayern, he had the power to make changes. Nagelsmann, he, from day one, basically just went to Kimmich. Kimmich was the one that he talked to. None of the other players seemed to be, players that were really in his corner. And he sort of just alienated a lot of, the higher up in the team hierarchy. And I think that's already, a losing battle from there on. Because you can't just alienate Neuer, especially Neuer, at the beginning of the year, this year. And then alienate Müller, alienate, Lewandowski last season. You can't just keep doing that, right? You gotta earn that respect from the players to be able to say, you know what, I'm substituting you. And it's very telling that Julian Nagelsmann, the one player that you can say that was a huge fan of his, the one player that will probably certainly be crying. Crying is a bit much, but I will certainly be upset about him leaving is Kimmich. But that's the issue. That is just Kimmich. It's just Kimmich. All the reports have stressed that, he hasn't spoken to players. And this is not just the reports from today and yesterday. These are the reports from, the last season and a half. They've stressed that, Kimmich has been the one person he's talked to and talked with. But it's where was that with Müller? Where is that with Neuer? Where is that with Coman? We don't get, anything in the media about, any talk being made about them. I also thought that sort of led, that point that I just made sort of led to why I don't think we've integrated youth as well. Because he isn't as powerful as previous managers. He doesn't have that name, that weight behind him that other managers do, because other managers have won X, Y, and Z. So, from that perspective, you really got to say, well, and obviously his age didn't really help in that regard, but from that perspective, you really got to say, well, he's not ready for the job. Like, because he isn't able to put his foot down and say, you know what, I want to play you, and I don't care if I have to bench you and you, because quite frankly, I've got my ideas and I'm going to go with my ideas. So we got that now with Tuchel, a manager that will play his ideas one way or the other. But the thing I like about Tuchel, and moving on to Tuchel, speaking about Tuchel, the thing that I like about Tuchel is versatility. Versatility at Dortmund. Oh, I always, look, right? I always go back to Dortmund. Mine's okay, fine, but Dortmund. His Dortmund side played the best football in Europe. In the world. I'm not gonna lie to you, right? They played the best football in the world, and people seem to forget that. Right? That like when he was at Dortmund, they had the most points for a runner-up ever. And if it wasn't like Pep Guardiola Bayern, they could have probably won it as well. Like, that's how good his Dortmund side was. And I'm just there thinking right now, just sitting back, just like, man, that Dortmund side was spectacular. And he got the players that he wanted. It was spectacular. At PSG, it was the best PSG has ever, keyword, ever, in their long history. Well, it's not that long, but in their long history, right? The best PSG has ever done in the Champions League was under Thomas Tuchel. Chelsea, he comes in. All right, they don't play beautiful football, right? But they keep clean sheets and they win the Champions League. This manager screams success. And if the stints at Mainz, if the stints at Dortmund, and if the stints remember when he joined Dortmund and the first game was against Borussia, I think it was against Borussia, like the first game in the Bundesliga was against Borussia Mönchengladbach, and I think they pimp-smacked them 4-0. 4-0! In your debut game, after replacing Klopp, who was like the legend to them, and you just pimp-smacked the other team 4-0. Look, I've been excited. I am excited. I have hope for the season now. I will say this. I have hope for the season now. And I'm excited. Like, that's really what it boils down to. I'm excited. Now, let's have a look at the comments. I haven't read them myself yet from the club. I'm kind of shooting this on my phone right now. Probably a bad idea when you've got a camera right there, a webcam right there, and a webcam right there. But, but hey, I was lazy. I just grabbed my phone. I was like, you know what? We need to talk. We need to talk. So, we're going to talk. Right. Alright, yo. Bayern announced they have parted ways with Julian Nagelsmann with immediate effect. Thomas Tuchel is the new head coach on a contract until 2025. Thomas Tuchel will lead his first training session as Bayern coach on Monday. And now we get into the statements by the club. So the first one is by Hassan Salihamidzic, aka Brazo. This was the most difficult decision of my time as sporting director at Bayern. I have had an open, trusting, friendly relationship with Julian from day one. I regret the separation from Julian. But after a thorough analysis of the sporting development of our team, especially since January, and with the experience of the second half of the previous season, we have now decided together to release Julian. I am very grateful to Julian for what he has done for FC Bayern, and I wish him all the best. I very much like that key phrase here. That's very important. After a thorough analysis of the sporting development of our team, especially since January, and with the experience of the second half of the previous season, we've decided together to release Julian. I very much like that. You know why I like that? I saw a stat yesterday, and let me try and find it. I don't know whether it was true. You know how you see something and you're just like, oh, wow, that's fascinating. But you don't actually, thoroughly check it or anything of that sort. Let me just go on SofaScore. I could have probably just searched for Bayern on Google. Let me go and search and have a look at this. Because apparently, according to what I saw yesterday, we've had, I think, 8 games this year in 2023. And we've won 3, drew 2, something ridiculous like that. But I'm trying to find it. Let's have a look. So we started the season again on the 13th of January against Salzburg. No, that was a friendly game, so we're not gonna count that. So the first game that we had that officially counted was the game against Leipzig, a draw. Köln, a draw. Frankfurt, a draw. Mainz, a victory. So we've had 4 games so far in 1 victory. Wolfsburg, a victory. So right now, 2 victories. Bochum, a victory, 3. PSG, a victory, 4. Gladbach, a loss. Union Berlin, a victory. Stuttgart, a win. PSG, a win. Augsburg, a win. Leverkusen, a loss. So you can see that there's a lot of losses and a lot of draws, but also, a decent amount of wins. But the wins are expected. Like, I'm going to be honest, right? The wins are expected. Like, winning against Mainz when, in the DFB Pokal when they've got a red card, that's sort of expected. Like, let's not kid ourselves. That's sort of expected. Wolfsburg, yeah, that's also really expected. Bochum, that's absolutely expected. I mean, they're probably going down. PSG, as I've said before, I don't rate them at all. I think they are a banter team, so beating them is not like people think. People. I've seen a lot of people say like, oh, but we beat PSG convincingly. I'm like, yeah, but that's PSG. That's like beating Bochum. That's like beating Schalke. Like that's not impressive. That isn't impressive, right? I wish we would have done that against a team that actually can push us. But hey. We'll see how that goes. Gladbach. Okay, us losing to Gladbach, I will say, it is what it is. It is what it is. It is what it is, right? It is what it is. Because it doesn't matter who the manager is, we're losing to Gladbach. Like that you need to set that in stone. If you're still, not sure about, are we going to win against Gladbach? And for the last, 4 years, right? Every time we face Gladbach, I bet against us. And I am so far up, right? Like, people need to start realizing that. I don't know why people don't accept that. People don't... every time we play against Gladbach, I bet against us. Because if we win, hey, I'm happy. If we lose, hey, I'm making money. Like, come on. The whole point of that is, to do something that is going to happen. But... what's worrying to me is Augsburg. We conceded 3 goals. Leverkusen obviously conceded 2 goals. That was horrendous. But we've got some time. We have some time. We've got the Dortmund game coming up on the 1st of April. Then we've got Freiburg in the DFB Pokal on the 4th of April. And then we've got Freiburg on the 8th of April. And then we've got Manchester City. So the Dortmund game is a bit soon, obviously. But, the Manchester City game, it's on the 11th of April. We still have some time for that to, get some ideas across from Tuchel. So, that's my thought, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, I'm happy now because the youth are going to get more time. And I very much believe we're going to see, a play style that was similar. That you saw Dortmund play under Thomas Tuchel. That very quick, dynamic, ruthless, aggressive play style, and I'm waiting for it. I'm here for it. I can't sing, but I could sing all day. I can't sing. I used to sing. I used to be able to sing opera, but that's all about it. But that was when I was younger. Back then, I used to sing opera on the stage, and it was such a beautiful moment. But I can't sing nowadays anymore. My vocal cords are shot. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, let me know what your thoughts are. And I'll see all of you in the next one, everyone. Have a nice day. Peace out. See ya and bye.